Hello everyone, and welcome back to the visual guide for the Astro's Playroom 80% Speedrun. In this video, we will be going over the World SSD Speedway. Along with this, I'll be teaching you some old tricks that you will be using in different spots, as long as some new ones that you will need to know for various stages. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So the beginning of the stage is pretty simple. You will just run forward until you get to this first wire that has a couple of enemies by it. Clear the enemies out of the way, pull the wire back, and perform a wire cancel in order to jump into this controller as quickly as you can. Next, jump into the controller and touch the bottom of your touchpad to quickly launch Astro. Once you are done gliding, you will go down to this power button that will activate some platforms in front of you. You can jump on this power button and make it to the next platform immediately without breaking stride. Now it is very important that you land on the backside of the power button because you will need as much distance as you can get possible. It's not very crucial or very particular where you land on the power button, but you do need to land somewhat on the backside. If you land too far in the front, then these little platforms moving toward you will knock you off and make you fall to your death. So as long as you land fairly close to the backside, you will be fine. After that, just jump from that second platform on up to the next platform and kill these two spiked enemies. Once you do that, then just pull this wire, perform a wire cancel, and then fly up to the next section. Once you do, then you will fly as high as you can and also to the right because you will skip the section right below you. You can make this flight very easily and it does not require you to do any kind of trick in order to do it. Once you do that, kill this slime enemy in front of you, but be careful that you do not land so far away that he will start his spinning attack, because it will one-shot you and reset you back to the previous checkpoint on the second wire pull. Once you pull the third wire, you will do the same thing, perform a wire cancel, and then just fly forward as normal. After you do that, you will see these wires in front of you. You can pull them down or you can pull them to the top. The more optimal way is to pull them closer to where the bridge is going to spawn. This will save you about half a second if you do this. It's not a lot, but it is something free that you should take. After that, you will run up this long bridge that spawns after pulling those wires. About 3/4 of the way up this bridge, you will be at full speed. It is also very important that this elevator you see that will be coming down will not move until you step on this platform where the checkpoint is. So don't even bother trying to cut the corner to save time. It will actually cost you more time by doing that. Just run up to the top of the bridge and then step on a platform and the elevator will be activated and start moving down. Once you get that done, just run in small circles to keep your momentum up because you want to keep your max speed for as long as you can. After that, just ride this elevator up. There's a particular moment you want to jump off the elevator so that way you jump higher and you can leave sooner. This point, I use this little bar in the background to mark when I can safely jump and not jump too early and bump my head, and also jump at just the right time to save as much time as possible. So what you will do is you will jump and just go out, and then you will run across this small section, and then for more time saving you can cut this corner and get right under this platform. So just continue working your way around and get to the top. I like to jump from this first step and then jump up to this small little platform sticking out. And then after that, I just do a small jump up and then I jump to the second step on this section. After that, you can just jump straight up to the button of the rocket, hit it, and activate it. I will show you one more trick on this section that is extremely tricky to pull off, but will save you a couple of seconds if you can nail it on the first try. So going back to the elevator, as you're going up, you will jump from the same section. But instead of moving forward as normal, you will jump on these double stacked coin boxes. After that, jump up to this small bar right above you, and then you will jump up and around and land on the front window of this rocket. Once you do that, you will just continue doing full jumps with a hover and a spin, and you will just keep climbing up these windows using that method. It is very important that you do a hover and then a spin in that order, because if you don't, you will have a much more difficult time landing on these windows. Once you get to the top, just come around and hit the button. As I said, this is an extremely difficult strategy to pull off, so only go for it if you are feeling completely confident that you can nail the strategy down. I recommend that you do not go for it if there's a chance that you could miss it, because if you do miss it, the time loss is about 5 to 10 seconds depending on where you lost it. The next stage we have is the Caching Caverns. With this, you will be introduced to the JETPACK suit. This is a fairly simple stage, and if you are familiar with the network version of the Jetpack run, then you will be familiar with this stage because it is an exact replica of it with a few minor changes. I feel like most of this stage is pretty straightforward on what you have to do, so I will just give you a few tips and pointers on how to maneuver through this. For the most part, you want to use both of your boosters as much as you can, because even while you are turning, you will be making the turns faster while both of them are active. Never let go of both boosters completely. You always want to have at least one going. The moment you let go of two is the moment the entire jetpack suit slows down. So do your best to keep them both going as much as possible. Another tip you will need is to cut corners as close as you possibly can. This will also save you a lot of time. You would be surprised at how much time you will save by cutting those corners really close. One last thing I want to add is these air currents. So getting in the middle of them is not optimal. You want to just catch the edge so that way you can quickly move into the next one. After you do that, before the stage ends, you will have to land on this button. What I like to do is use this automatic door as a visual cue of whenever I can start going straight up. Once I go past the button, I immediately let go of the boosters and do small adjustments if I have to, but most of the time I won't. Usually when you do that, you will land on the button and you will end the stage. So for the third stage, which is deep data space, there's a really cool and a really optimized trick you can pull off if you kept your speed in the last stage. If you did not keep your speed, I will show you an alternate method you can use to get it back. So first of all, you just want to climb up these rocks and go across this little metal beam and make your way across these airbags. Once you do that, you will be at the top and you will see this rock with a bunch of circle coins. Just jump straight across, and then you will jump up to this ledge right above this TNT. A good visual cue I like to use so that way I can get up there as quickly as possible and be able to save as much time as I can. I jump as soon as I get on top of this little rocky surface that's above this platform that's barely sticking out. If you do that and do a hover and a spin, then you will get up here just slightly faster. This is one of the most optimized tricks in the game that saves you the most time, and it is called the minigun skip. So you do not have to do that entire minigun section or kill these enemies. What you do is you just go to the right of this little walkway to where you normally go down with a minigun. You will land on this rock on the far side. This is a tricky jump to hit, but it's not so bad once you get it down, and I'll break it down to how you can hit it every time. The first and most important thing you need to know is do not run to the very edge. If you do, there is a high chance you will lose your momentum. Also, you will not be able to jump as far as you normally think you would. Some reason getting near an edge will hold back your jump for a little bit, so it's very important that you jump just before you get to the edge. It may seem strange, but trust me, it is much better than running all the way up to the edge. And the spot you need to jump from is actually more generous than you think it would be in order to make this jump. The next thing you need to know is whenever you're going for this jump, you need to move to the left as much as you possibly can, without actually touching the glass. Touching the glass can slightly slow you down if you are not careful. It is still possible to make it while touching it, but it makes it less likely. So just move left as much as you can without touching it, and you will be fine. Once you get near the end of the jump, you will have to do a hover and a spin in order to make it. Not in that order, just any order that you desire. Once you do that, just jump up and you will be on to the next section. I stated earlier that if you do not have Astro at max speed when you enter this stage, that there is another way that you can get it back. The way to do this is whenever you come up to this first TNT enemy, you will need to land right behind it and then jump up. Just know that there is a chance the TNT enemy can run into you and kill you, so if you're going to do this, be extremely careful whenever you try to pull off this trick. This section also entails more of minigun skipping. So what you want to do is you want to go past these enemies and go up to the step to where the slime is. After you do, immediately jump backwards and get on top of this railing right above you. You will need to jump to this last platform to where the wire is that you will pull and then spawn a tightrope. So the visual cue I like to use here to make this jump and get as much distance as possible, while you are up here, wait until you hear the sound of the second coin that you pick up. Once you get that, immediately go for the jump and you will be in the right spot. There are several ways to do this, and I will show you the most optimal way versus a very good way of doing it. The most optimal way is to completely ignore all enemies and immediately go for the wire. If you do this, you will need to pull it as left as you possibly can without hitting the edge. If you do pull it too far left, then the tightrope will not spawn for you. So you want to pull it just left enough where the enemies won't hurt you or cut it, and then not too far left where you make the tightrope not spawn at all. If these enemies are giving you trouble, then just kill the first 2 or 3 whenever you first get on this platform and then pull the wire. So you will only lose about 2 to 3 seconds, so it's not really a big issue. Once you get all that done, then just ride the tightrope down. I have tried several methods of jumping across, swinging from the bottom, and they all seem to be just as fast as you just sliding down, and you will keep your momentum anyways whenever you're just sliding down. So when you get near the end, just go ahead and jump off and head to the right. After that, you will be working your way around this rock. I will now teach you the final strategies for this level called the fuse skip. This is an extremely optimized strategy. It's not too difficult to pull off, but it does require some precise inputs. What you need to do is you need to land on top of this fuse and immediately jump, and then do a hover and a spin. It is also very important that when you are doing this that you are on the left side of this wire that is going up the rock. This gives Astro a bit of a height boost whenever you are pulling this strategy off. You will need to be pressing into the wire, but you want to make sure that you are on the left side of the wire. If you are not getting this jump, or you're just not getting the height that you need to make it, then it probably means you are not letting Astro get his full height before you start your hover and spin technique. Just wait a little bit longer before you start a hover or spin, and then do it as normal, and you should be fine. The difference between lighting this fuse and not lighting it is about 6 to 7 seconds. Once you make it to the top, you will enter the final stage of this world called Orbital Obstacles. As with the first jetpack stage you went to, you will want to go straight up as much as you possibly can to save as much time. Barely make any side movements if you can, and that will save you even more time. So just dodge these enemies as normal and just keep going straight up. It is also very important to know that this electric enemy up here before this hole in the wall where you can get a collectible moves back and forth the entire time you're going throughout the stage. If you have really optimal movements throughout the stage, then this enemy that moves back and forth should be moving from the left to right. If that is the case, just move to the left of the enemy and you will easily dodge it. Up next, you have a few air currents. They're not really dangerous, so just kind of stay in the middle and then you'll be okay. After that, just move to the left and try to cut this corner as close as you possibly can without actually hitting it. Remember to keep a booster going the entire time in order to save as much time as you possibly can. As you are going through this room with the airbags, you will notice that in the next room you will have to drop down. The most optimal way to approach this is in the room just before you start having to go down. Bump off one of the top airbags and it will send you in a downward motion. If you did that correctly, then they will bounce you into the next room that you need to go to. One thing to be aware of, that there is a chance that you can bump into this electric wall and it will kill you. If that is the case, just tilt your controller to the right and Astro should hit the piece below him and start falling straight down. After that, just move into the next room. When you are in this room, it is pretty straightforward. Just move to the left and then you will get to these enemies circling around. The most optimal way to handle this is to grab the puzzle piece and go straight through them. It is not an easy trick to pull off, but I will show you a way where I can consistently pull this trick off. What I want to do is I want to get in this room as soon as I possibly can. And then I wait for about 1 second and then I just go straight up. The reason you want to get into this room as quickly as you can is that it will be consistent and your muscle memory will be on par with when you need to go up. When you do that, just move against these air currents to the left or right so that way you do not get pushed into these electric walls. Just know that the last one will be very harsh and will push you with much more force. So make sure you tilt very hard against it so that way you do not get pushed into that electric wall and die. Once you do that, you will have this last room that has air pushing you down. Just keep your thrusters about halfway pressed down and then you can float straight across this. After that, you will enter the boss fight of this world. This boss fight can be tricky at times, but I will show you an easy, consistent, and optimal way of handling it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get to the right side of the boss, and you will immediately light this fuse. After that, you want to bait this enemy's shot on the right wall down to the bottom. Also, bait the boss's next electric attack to the right as well, so that way you can more easily light this fuse on the left. Once you light that fuse on the left, just start hovering above the boss because his laser cannot hurt you since it is already pointing to the right. Just slowly hover above him so that way as soon as he gets done, that you can immediately light that fuse and get out of this stage. After you're done with that, then just go on to your next world. The next world I will be going to is Memory Meadow. That is where this video will end and where the next one will pick up. So I hope you enjoyed this, I hope it really helps, and I will see you in the next one and teach you the new tricks in that one. So with that, take care, have a nice day, and stay safe. Bye.